Hi, my name is Keith Brennan. This is my clmooc how-to video, and it's the existential how to be a farmer. And it is very existential. There are no bells and whistles, there's no required reading, there are no helpfully illustrated and tagged graphics, there's no screencasts, there's no steps, there's no processes, there's just me, a camera, and a country lane. And by existential, I mean that's at the heart of what it is to be a farmer. It's more important than having good knowledge of tools. It's more important than having good knowledge of agriculture. And it's more important than knowing how to handle animals, because all of these things are things that, if you have enough persistence, if you have enough will, if you have enough determination, you can develop, possibly despite yourself. And optimism is key in that process. Farming is hard. It's very difficult. It's possible for the first couple of years of doing it that every morning you wake up, every part of your body will ache as a matter of course. And that the day when you wake up without an aching body feels like a revelation. It feels like you're a new you. The work is unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen. Land will soak up more work than you can throw it. The rewards are slim, and there's absolutely no cachet whatsoever in being a farmer. None whatsoever at all. But what it can give you, if you commit to it, is a process that forces you to be equal to it. And that's what I mean by the power of optimism. And when I talk about the willful application of stupidity to forward planning, that's what I mean. When I moved to the country about 5 years ago, I moved from a deeply urban background, in the heart of Dublin City and the Liberties. And you don't get much more urban in Dublin than the Liberties. They're poor, they're in the city, they've been that way for a long time, and they're right at what people consider to be the actual beating heart of urban Dublin. And nobody there has a garden. I never gardened in my life. I spoke to my wife recently about why we moved, and about why we moved to this particular locale, and I said to her that when we found our farm, I made a conscious choice not to think too carefully or too much about what it would involve. I made a conscious decision to commit to it because I knew that if I thought about it, I wouldn't do it. And this is what I mean by willful stupidity and optimism. Moving to the countryside and taking on a derelict farm has forced me to be equal to ambitions that if I thought about carefully, I never would have followed. And that's been a very important life lesson for me, which is to replace caution as a watchword in my life with optimism. Because I know that if something means enough to me to commit to optimistically, that I'll have the persistence and determination to be equal to what it demands of me. And this is very true for most farmers, and it's very true in life in general as well. We can find all sorts of reasons for not doing something. We can find 100 reasons to not do something that's particularly difficult. But if we willfully decide to focus and have faith in our optimism and engage with significant projects somewhat blindly, not completely, but somewhat, then the process of being equal to that engagement can cause us to develop in new, startling, and entirely unexpected ways. Ways that if we had listened to caution, we would not have otherwise. At its heart, this is what being a farmer is. It's being equal to circumstances that are far beyond your control, that are absolutely beyond your ability to reliably predict, and that will change as you're working with them. Animals are unpredictable. Weather, especially in Ireland, is ferociously unpredictable. Materials is unpredictable. Land is something that is unpredictable. And to make a life out of all of those things, to stitch them together, is not necessarily a rational decision. It's something that if you thought about, you would often generally choose not to do. If I had thought about it, I would have chosen not to do it. At its heart, farming is often the application of willful stupidity to unpredictable situations based on the premise that your optimism is founded and that you have enough determination, persistence and will to be equal to that ambition. And in a nutshell, that's what farming is. Putting yourself in a position whereby you are equal to an ambition, and that the persistence and determination that allows you to be equal is fueled by the optimism that committed you to that path. Farmers are cautious, and they're careful, and they think carefully about money, and about their animals, and about their land. They think carefully about the weather. But at its heart, none of these things are predictable. These are all profound variables, and they're defined more than anything else by being variables that you can't control. We're cautious people who have to commit to circumstances that are beyond our capacity to control. And in committing to that, we become people who are equal to it. And that is what I mean by an existential how-to to be a farmer. It's a commitment. Put yourself in situations whereby you give yourself the fuel via optimism to be persistent and determined enough to be equal to the demands that you've made of yourself. And those demands, you have no idea what they are, really, until they begin to unfold. And as they unfold, and you prove to be equal to them, you change, adapt, and grow. And that's a pretty amazing process. That's an ethic I bring to other things in my life. I ran a MOOC this year, single-handedly. It was an incredibly stupid thing to do. I did all of the resources, the entire website, almost all of the lectures, all of the supplementary material, all of the additional reading, absolutely everything solely 100% by myself. Incredibly stupid thing to do. Massively rewarding. I think professionally, it's probably the best thing I've ever done. I think I may never work as hard as that again, and I don't regret it for a single second. So, next time you think about a farmer, think of them as somebody who's cheerfully optimistic, willfully stupid, and highly motivated. Thank you for your time.